What is going on, guys? And today we are back in the mix. Today we're playing a little Circus mix for you guys. Something I don't think we've played in a little bit, but fun game. There are no cap games in this game, so it's all limit games. Playing Badacey A-5 right now. It's going to go to Badugi, Drawmaha Deuce to 7, Stud High Low Regular, Badeucey Deuce to 7, Limit Omaha High, Drawmaha High, and Stud 8 or better. I think the Limit Omaha High is going to be a placeholder for Limit Double Board High when they get it, but they don't have it just yet. I think they're still working on that. But as always, if you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe. Any questions or comments, put them below. If you guys want to record up to 1 hour on Phenom and send it to me, I will review it for you. Also, if you're looking to open a Phenom account, please click the link below or use code LMG for your referral code at sign up. Keeps me motivated to keep making the channels, and it helps the channel out. I think this game should be a pretty good game. I think everybody in this game is pretty well versed, I would say, on the majority of mixed games. We'll kind of see how that develops. But just playing with everyone here in general, I would say they have a good grasp of the rules of the game and kind of like the ebb and flow. So we'll see how that all pans out today. Sorry, waiting for this first hand here. The last draw, 1-1. Oh, if you guys have not seen the 100K Super High Roller Bowl, it's still on YouTube. Vitch did the commentary with Alex Livingston. I highly go recommend it. You get to listen to Alex and Chris talk like the entire time about the games and the 10-game mix that is, and just kind of get to pick their brain a lot. Here, first hand, Ace Deuce in the big blind. Definitely going to defend against a small blind open if Jupe decides to raise. So we're throwing like Queen of Clubs, 9 of Spades. Not that it matters too much right now. I wonder if Jupe is playing multiple tables. Takes 2. Prove to Ace Deuce 3 and block a Deuce. And I think in position here, if Jupe bets, we're just going to go ahead and raise and build a pot with the best hand. I'm going to start with a bet. Pretty much this hand is just a bet down for value now on all 3 streets if nothing really changes. Also, given the fact, too, here that he decided to check call 1, draw 1, most likely means that his 3 card here is pretty rough in general. And he does fold. So nice start to the day. Fold here the 1 card deuce. Just give me 1 second. I'm just testing something here on the lower left, or sorry, the upper left. This is the hand history, just in case I ever go back to it. So we'll keep it here. That way we can kind of watch the gameplay too at the same time. But we'll leave that off for now. Here, Ace-5 on the button with a 7 and a 6 exposed. We'll definitely open if given the opportunity. I've never played with Queen Nikki before, but I've seen, for lack of a better term right now, we'll say that she has been playing in some of the bigger PLO games, or the Pot Limit Omaha Big O games. And my guess is I actually have a feeling who this person might be, but I'm not going to give that away right now. Here in a 0-2 spot, still think we call once, just given the pot. And then this doesn't, well, theoretic, no, it's not. I don't think it's going to change too much. So we're going to still draw 2. We do improve to the 1 card 5 draw. We're going to call. The King of Hearts is technically dead, but so are some of the other clubs and spades. And then we miss on the river. We're just going to check this one back. I think a good candidate here to turn into a bluff would probably be like if I pair make the heart pair of one of those. Now, if you want to use like a total GTO, we'd have to do the math calculation on it. Let's see. Let's go back. So now if we pull up the hand history, I'm not sure if it shows the pot size or not. Let's see if it does. Next hand. Let's see if we can back to search. This is it. So We play this one out. Does it show the pot size? Yes, it does. So on the river there, when let's see, 1 second. On the river here, basically for our bluffs to be, let's see, if we want to do like a GTO strategy in this situation, we should be bluffing 1 out of 6 times, which let's do the math on that real quick. But so basically, what is it? 1 divided by 7. So we need to bluff about 14%. So if we're looking for a bluff in that situation, my guess is probably like if you, off the top of my head, if you take, well, what do our value bets look like, right? If our value bets here, basically, I would say probably Jack's better. Because if he's got this, then he's got like all Badugis. There's no question about it. So I don't think we should be betting kings. Probably should be betting like Queen 5, maybe Jacks for sure. Queens are kind of close. But if he checks, I think it's like, okay, Deuce to 7 Drawmaha here. So we're going to start with this one here. Deuce to 7 Drawmaha, obviously the best. Deuce to 7 low hand in your hand, and the best high on the board. We're going to split the pot. Get a pretty good flop for our range here, so we're just going to go ahead and bet. Plus we have a 9 low, so it's not going to hurt us in any way. And if our opponent has trips here, it's just less likely that also he's going to make a better low hand. Because we're just going to go ahead and call here and just pat our hand. Not really much to do, but he's representing like a flush draw or a 4 in this situation, but there's not much we can realistically do. We do pick up a flush draw on the turn, and we still have a straight draw. Theoretically, we could get like a 6 here, but I'm still just going to go ahead and call. And now river, we're just going to call too. And we get pipped, I think. Yeah, he did it before in a straight, so he drew good. But not too much. I would say there's not too much upside to raising on the turn there. He's representing a pretty strong hand on the flop. 8-3-7 in the big blind here. I think this is just a fold drawing too. I think I have to do a little more work in the spots if like draw 2s can be profitable. Because usually your opponent on the button's opening 1. Meaning if they're opening 1 on the button, then you're pretty big disadvantage. Plus, they probably bet it at high frequency. So you're not just calling 1 bet pre-flop, you're also calling like a second bet too. Here with a 4-6-7 in the small blind, I think this is okay for an open with the double suit and kind of like the connectiveness. We do get 3 bet, we call. And on this board texture, the fact that there's 2 deuces and there's no hearts out there, I actually think this is one where we can consider just folding our hand. And she does check. Do we have... We have no flush draws either, so it doesn't really matter which one we keep here. I would expect that she's drawing 1. Stands pat, which is interesting. Probably has like some sort of like queen and or maybe like, I mean, maybe she has like a jack with no deuce. That would make some sense. And on this river, unless I'm getting like totally trapped, I think I'm just going to go ahead and check call. I don't think she's ever folding at this point. But the only hand that scoops me is like a deuce, which she hasn't represented. So unless this is like a wheel with a deuce or something, or a jack, I mean, like my hand's just always chopping. So easy call here on the river. And then I'm pretty sure she would just call here on the river too. So the only thing that realistically I think can happen there is I can just run into a trap. But pretty surprised to see a 10 from Nikki there. I'm going back to this hand history real fast. So if we look at what our value bets are, if we count down, we have probably the value bet here is like Jack 5, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 2 5s. So that's 8 value bets. And yeah, basically in this situation, like the closest thing we can probably come to GTO is like if we pair the ace of hearts, bluff, and then bet down the rest of them. So you can't bluff every single heart in this situation. If you think your opponent's going to overfold, it's kind of an interesting one to consider. But if your opponent's just going to be extremely sticky, then what you want to do in this situation here is most likely, if you want to find like something close to a GTO strategy, is you basically like if you value bet, if you bluff the ace of hearts over here, and maybe like it's some fraction, like flip a coin here with the when you catch the four of hearts, that would probably give you close to the right frequency of like GTO bluffing here on the river. But if your opponent's just like pure sticky, then just checking back is a better strategy. And you can't just bet every single one because they'll just call you every single time, and you're just gonna light money on fire with that bet on the river. So. Jupe picks up a really nice hand there with the Pat 86. Here, even with the straight draw here, pretty sure this is just strong enough to open. Some random spots, we also keep the king too if we flop like trips or something, but pretty rare, I would say. And we get one through. Stud high low regular. Basically, this game is a no qualifying split pot stud game where the best ace to five Raz hand and the best stud high hand are going to split the pot. This is also called any. We call this one, has different terminology here. Aces in this game are super, super strong. Split deuces with the six here. We're going to go for it. We did have some dead cards over here that will help us in their low cards, but split basically like this little pair here with a six low is just definitely going to be playable in that spot. So we open that one and get it through. The other game, we call this one any sometimes. Another terminology for it, nomenclature, as we'll say. But the high pairs in this game are basically unplayable. Sometimes you can play trips. It kind of depends on the specific situation. And, obviously you get just trips so rarely. But like if you're in this situation where you bring it in with a king and you got roll up kings versus multiple players, then you definitely have enough equity to continue. But if you're just heads up with a player who's showing like a low card, you almost never have it. And the reason being is because like the best low that you can draw, it's a king right away, which means your opponent's almost just immediately free rolling you. That's the same thing with like split kings too. But I go straight to the king example because like it's the extreme example. And there we got a six low with no pair, ace king high, and then we got a pair of fours with an eight low. But again, like, nine lows in this game, jack lows. They're play just like ace to five Raz hands. This is more, I would definitely say, of an old school game because I've mentioned it before in some of my older videos. You see a lot of, what was it? The Super System, the original Super System had it in there. I think that was I think they called it stud high low back then. So that was the format that they talked about. So if you're looking for basic strategy on that, besides this video, the original Super System has some strategy in stud high low regular as well. Yeah, now this hand like usually has, I would say, some like, it's kind of interesting how this one runs off. The queen here should not defend, so that's just something to make a mark on here. So we can go back here in a second and just run the back to search, and hands for the day. But if we play this one out real quick, we can see that the ace opens and the queen calls. Yeah, the dead card's unexposed. Yeah. Oh, interesting. It doesn't muck the dead ones. That must just be a flaw in the replayer. But the queen shell must never be calling here. The reverse implied are just really, really bad. Most likely, if the queen has like ace deuce of spades in the hole, then usually that's a good exception to consider doing it with. It has a little bit of high with ace queen high. It has a flush draw, and then it has ace deuce for low. So like those kind of hands are usually the exceptions against a steal. But I would say like this ace eight queen versus an ace steal is just still a fold. The reverse implied just going forward are not great in the hand. The stud high low regular. If it folds to me here on the button, this is a definite steal. A king versus a deuce up, but I'd have to dodge all these low cards, and usually that's not going to happen before it gets to me. Now it's just kind of a battle of wits, but with a queen in my hand. Just gonna let this one go. Again, the ace in this game is just so powerful because it's just a two-way hand. Plays like absolute high, absolute low. If I think my opponent here is stealing too wide, this is probably an okay defend. And here with the ace up, most likely it's going to come back to me and Jupe. And actually, we could probably do some calling against like his opens here, but like against the jack and the queen, there's just nothing to do here. We don't need to limp the ace. We get defended by the queen. Still betting the ace-5. It's just too good of a card. I expect him to call with the 7. He does bet, but we're still calling. We're not folding yet. We still have a wheel draw. We have 3 to a flush. And he can't be scooping us at this point, one way or the other. Even if he has a pair, he has a queen low. So it's kind of an interesting card here, like, kind of an interesting card here, I would say. That's a really bad card. It's like one of the worst cards we can possibly get. And now we're probably going to have to call with ace-king high. But, yeah, we get scooped on the river. But he couldn't scoop us on the turn, so we had a 6 low draw on ace-king high. If he paired the 7, we had the best, if he paired the 7, we had the best low, and if he had no low, we had the best high. But obviously, like, one of the worst cards you can just catch in this game is like a middling card that does nothing for your hand, and that's exactly what the 10 did for me there. Unfortunately, though, I still think I have enough equity with ace-king high to call. And if he does make like 2 pair, then my 10 low is good. So, but nothing really changed in the hand, because if he had 2 pair, then my jack low was good too. So again, like a card basically for me that just didn't matter. All right, Baducey 75432 is the best low. 5432 rainbow is the best Badugi. There is no qualifier for this hand, meaning there are always 2 pots in the game. That's the best way to look at the no qualifying split pot games, is there's just always 1 high, 1 low. Sorry, well, in this game there's 1 5-card hand, 1 4-card hand. 2 3 5 here is just going to be too rough, even open small blind against Nicky in the big. Same thing here, 1 card 6 draw on the button, we just fold. Goes 1 2. 2 draws left. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make a video for everyone based on the 100K. I'm gonna see what. I don't think I can do any recordings based on the hand histories, but I can definitely I'm going over it right now and just putting in what I think is the best. Jupe here makes a 7 low and raises. This is an interesting Badugi, actually. It can be kind of like, I think, taken both ways. And what I mean by that is like it's an interesting one to kind of like turn into a like a really rough like kind of semi-bluffing hand. Because like obviously a 4 5 6 7 is not a good drawing hand. But at the same time too, it's also a hand that if your opponent can fold like better lows, like he might in a theory there, like if he had to make a king 7 and like your opponent's still drawing, that's a hand that you actually might consider. 3 card 9 here with the 9 low. We're still folding this one. If this was a 4 card 8, 3 card 8, I think we would have opened. But going back to Jupe's hand, I think like he could, you know, like keep a 9 there and path a 9 and then like kind of like bluff it. I mean, theoretically, the same thing. Like, Badeucey's just such a weird game because, like, theoretically, there you could also just keep drawing, and if your opponent doesn't have a Badugi and like makes a pair, it's kind of the same thing on the river. He's just going to check fold anyways. But also, it's kind of like a fun one to sometimes just consider like calling with the 7 Badugi, to kind of like protect your range, but because your draw is just really bad, you know, like if you have like, obviously you want to be raising the 7-5-4 deuce like type of Badugis because like you have a strong draw too at the same time. But I have tended in the past not to put a lot of action in when I make those super rough Badugis when my deuce to 5 draw is so bad, because I really can't, unless I make a really good hand, I can't put in more action. And if I keep getting like raised and re-raised, then I'm just basically drawing at the deuce. Strong Badugi there with the 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 6 here under the gun with an extra deuce. The extra deuce is a nice blocker in this game. I mean, deuce to 7, it definitely helps, but Baducey, it's like really helps because like then it's just so much more likely your 3 cards better, meaning you just have a little bit more equity in the hand. Limit Omaha High. Again, it's not pot limit, so it's a little bit different. So basically, kind of like these middling hands, they go down in value because obviously you can't like stack off and get someone's stack. So like the high hands become a little bit more important in this game. That being said, the equities just run so close that we're like almost never doing any folding here in the big blind. We're very, very, very little. Like we're calling here at just such an amazing high frequency. I think people's heads would explode in limit Omaha High. But obviously here on a Jack deuce flop, we just go ahead and check fold. Maybe if I had something like 2 backdoor flush draws, and my hands are like really bad, just like unblocking a lot of their range. Like if I had 9, like 10, 9, 8, 7 there with like 2 backdoor flush draws, I think it'd be a little more interesting. Just because like that type of hand blocks some of the combinatorics of like the jack combos that she wants to raise under the gun. Plus, like I think I turn a lot of equity sometimes if I have like 2 backdoor flush draws in a straight draw. But my hand's just so bad that I can't really continue. Jack deuce 6, 6 here is a fold. Probably think like most combos of jacks there probably is not open though, depending if it's like not a Badugi. This is a fold as well. But yeah, going back to the 100K, like everyone, if you're watching my channel, you should definitely go back. I'm not sure if it's going to stay free on YouTube, but while it's up there, go back and just listen to the commentary. Like I will definitely say Alex did a really good job kind of running the ship, but I think Chris's strategy, especially in like the limit games, was just so awesome. And yeah, I'm a yeah, and Chris is a close friend of mine, don't get me wrong. But it was just really cool to listen to him and just pick through his thoughts. I mean, you basically get, I don't know, there's probably close to 20 hours, I think. You basically get to listen to Chris talk about, mixed game strategy for 20 hours for free. I just can't stress that enough. Ace 10 Jack 6. This one's close. But the Badugi format I'm gonna say is probably a fold. If I had any suit here, this is probably an open. The 6 also hurts me a little bit. Like obviously if this is Ace 10 Jack 8, I think I'm opening this one. Or even if I had maybe like Ace 10 Jack 5 because I have a wheel draw with it. But the 6 is not a card I really want. I had a fair bit of mixed games on there. Like I put a tweet out yesterday, just because I think there were 3 mixed games by the end of the night, or like 4 mixed games going 3, 6, and under. So again, just a great opportunity to go learn the games, even if like 50 cents dollar. I mean, I know sometimes it can be a little bit tight on everyone's budget, but 8, 8, 9, 6 here. This is just a fold another gun with a triple suit, double suit, probably an open. But yeah, just such a great way to learn the games. And you know what? You can record yourself playing on it and then send it to me. And again, like that's a 1 hour recording, but usually, the session recordings go for like at least 2 hours. So I'd say like, you're getting 2 free hours of lessons for free too. So even a better way to look at it. All right, next game, kind of a what I would say that no, not really too much blood in that situation. Drawmaha High. So the best 5-card high hand with 1 draw. And the best Omaha board is going to win half. There we'll split the pot. Again, this is a no qualifying game. We defend 8s here against an open, but against a raise and a raise, we're going to fold. Kind of a fun one here. Still think if given the chance, I would just take 3. I have a 8-high flush draw, Plus, like, I can catch like the 6 back and even the 4, the 5, or the 7 or something like that. So most likely I would have just taken 3 at the 2/8s. The 6 doesn't help me, and I think that's like a mistake some people when they start playing Drawmaha High make is like sometimes you think like, oh, this 6 helps my hand, I want to keep it. But in reality, it just doesn't help. Like if it was like the 6 of diamond, like say this was the 4 of diamonds, it's 6 of spades, like then I would most likely keep the 6 of diamonds. But that 6 there does not help me. Pretty bad hand here with Queen Eye. Let's go back to search real quick. Let's see what Cam 3-bet with pre-flop him. I guess it was probably just some sort of high pair. Yeah, as you can see here, he 3-bet with aces. This is totally standard, like 3-betting with aces. He had aces plus a flush draw. But Boko just had 2 pair and made a full house. So, believe it or not, I feel like this hand is actually quite close. If I had like 2 small pair here, I think this is a fold. But I think with queens up, it's actually a lot closer. I think the majority of my opponents like here have like, you know, big pairs early, and then like it starts getting a little bit closer with like, you know, 2 pairs or even like maybe another high pair. I unblock aces and kings, which makes it a little, I think this hand like probably a little bit more sense here to go ahead and just 3-bet button, or sorry, 4-bet button. I mean, sometimes you just run into trips too, but like I don't think we fold this specific combo. And now it's quite interesting. Because I feel like the gut shot actually gives me a little bit more equity in this hand. But again, like kings are a very high, like a very kings are a very likely holding of my opponents. I'm gonna call here, but I think I'm just gonna break the jack, even though, yeah. And then see if I can catch like another spade for another backdoor flush draw, but we do have like we do have the club backdoor flush draw. Interesting that Cam took 2, so what is that hand? We'll think about it in a second. We do make trips now with 2 pair. King, king, jack? Well, that's interesting too. I don't think I have a ton of incentive here to raise. Like the only thing I'm really like kind of getting out, I guess I do unblock the straight and flush draws. King, king. This is an interesting one here on the turn. He didn't raise, he drew 1. I think I'm just going to go ahead and call. Might be giving a little bit too much away here. And then unfortunately we make another set and it's a flush. But I think with queens and 3s we still have enough equity to go ahead and call river. And we do have the best hand. So actually we were scooping on the turn against Woody. He did make a flush on the river. I think that's just like kind of one of those one-off hands though when Woody bets turn. Go back to this one here. Let's show the hand history. Because I feel like a lot of times on this turn card, when he likes to bet, like I think a lot of times like his, you know, maybe he has like kings and jacks and hit a gut shot. You know, again, like some sort of, I guess he can't really have aces in this situation. I'm just trying to decide if I missed a raise or not. Because then too, I can also like get Cam out of the hand. We do have aces here in Drawmaha, so we're definitely playing this one. I'm going to think on that one. That's one that I might do in a review. Just trying to think if I missed the value there or not. Because obviously if he has kings and jacks, and most likely I get raised on the turn. Like, you know, some sort of like king jack 2 pair hand. He doesn't have to have like kings and jacks. He can have king, king, jack. Like he can have like king, 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 jack, or jack, 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 king. And those hands are free rolling me. And looks like Jupe's going to time out here. Sorry about that. Let's raise up the aces. But I think that's one thing too that I think a lot of like in early position, if your opponent raises and you have like 2 small pair next to act, and this kind of goes back to Archie a little bit too. I'm not quite sure if all 2 pair hands are 3 bets. I think, you know, some of your worst ones are actually folds. because you have everyone behind you to act, plus the under the gun raiser can just have you beaten in really bad shape. It's one of those situations like, in a game where it's single draw, in a single draw game, if you only have one draw left, it's very, very hard to beat your opponent who has the best hand, best equity. So, it's definitely a good thing to note that my opponent here has like 3-bet 4s and 7s. Now, like, 6s and 5s double suited, yeah, like that hand makes a lot of sense. Like deuces and 7s offsuit, probably not. Badugi, deuces and 7s. Kind of very similar in some ways to, like, even though they're different games, like deuce to 7 Drawmaha, Like sometimes you have straight draws with your low draw plus flush draws. Oh, interesting hand here. Straight versus jacks. Was that jacks up? Missed that one. We might go back to that one too. All right, stud 8 or better. I'm gonna start implementing, I think, a little bit more of my limp ranges on here. King dead. I didn't see if Jupe got dealt in or not. He calls. We're just gonna go ahead and call. Nikki catches 8, so she likely bet. And then when Woody calls here, I still think we call, like with our 7s. Our 7s tend to be the best hand here. Like, we have a little bit of the reverse implied going forward, but now when we open pair 7s, like, there's nothing else realistically to do here but bet. In some ways, we're kind of hoping that Nikki raises us. I don't think Woody's calling. Interesting that Woody calls. Like, Woody should never have a 9 in his hand unless he's got a 9 of spades. This card is so good for Nikki, though, that I think I'm going to go ahead and check to her. Now, I do have 3 7s, and I have a spade. There's 2 dead spades. I think I am going to raise this one here with Woody in the hand, though. I think against Nikki heads up, I think I would theoretically just call, but we're kind of pushing it both ways. And if Nikki does have, like, a flush in this situation here, like, we have outs. But we do have 3 of her 7s, too, and she folds, so kind of interesting. We think 4 7s. Wow. Well, I don't think, yeah, all right. Don't think we're losing this one. We are hoping to get raised. Just not go 5 bets after that. Well, not go 7 bets after that. Yeah, I was going to say, like, a lot of times we just get folds there just because my hand just looks straight like 7 7 7, but not much I can do, just given the fact that, Nikki should have, like, a lot of lows in that situation. And then Woody calling with 9s, like, I just want to go ahead and jam, I think, my equity. But if I didn't have 7 7 7, say I had like deuce 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 there, calling might be a little bit better. Now I do block her low draws, but at the same time too, I don't block her straights. But I think when I block her straights, and there's a couple dead spades, I think raising makes kind of interesting. My guess is like Nikki probably had like a high pair in the hole of some kind. Just gonna call here with ace 10-3 against Jupe's open. And then when we catch good and he catches bad, we're going to go ahead and bet. Now he catches 3 spades, but we do have 2 spades in our hand, so still betting. Makes open queens. We're just going to check this one. There's no point here in betting because if he called 5th street, he's going to call 6th street again, so I'm just going to go ahead and check back and try to make something. I do make 8 low on the river. I will bet if check 2 because it's a free bet. I will also raise because I can't get scooped on the low, but like I feel like we're just kind of wasting time a little bit. Most likely he had a 9 in his hand and made queens and 9s. That's like the most likely combo he had there. But I also think it's really important too, like you don't just continue to barrel into these situations. You definitely have to read your opponent's board. And in that spot, it was very obvious when Jupe called on 5th street. He was going to call again on 6th street because he open paired queens and I made a pair. Now, if I paired, if I made like 3 deuces, I would go ahead and bet again. But with 1 pair against an open pair, big pair, just an easy fold. This one here, I want to gamble, but I'm just gonna take my time. I wanted to see that straight hand. All right, let's go see. I wanted to see this Drawmaha hand. I think it went raise, 3 bet, call, bet call, go 1. Oh, it did go 1-1. Yeah, so he made the king high straight. Most likely he didn't have a gut shot. Unless you're like double suited with your gut shots that are high cards, you probably should almost never be playing them. So, it makes sense there. He could have king, queen, 10, jack on the button and open. He could have 9, queen, jack, king double suited and open. That makes some sense. And then trips just get like obliterated here with the flush draw, which is kind of a bad beat for him. But yeah, I mean, that happens sometimes. But yeah, that hand had, oh man, that had infinite equity, it seems like, on the flop. I mean, obviously, split sixes here, most likely what he's going to open, and we're just going to play. Now, the question here, I think a lot of times is like, do I have enough equity to raise in this spot? Now, against the 100% range, like with a 2-suit and a connected 4, I think we're just going to go ahead and 2-bet against a steal that probably is like close to 100%. Obviously, our hand is super strong. We definitely want one of those deuces, but having 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 plus 4 suits, still kind of getting interesting with his board. But again, his range can be relatively wide. Plus, we have 4 hearts. We have a straight flush draw. Wow, and we make a straight flush. We made quads and a straight flush in the same round. Crazy. And we are going to scoop that one too. We got called by deuces. We got called by deuces on that board. I have to go back to that one too. Well, this has been an interesting round of stud 8 or better. Oh, I can't just fold this one right away. I was not thinking that one. This is kind of one where I think like calling is fine. Again, like I've been implementing a lot of the limping strategy, and I think like just watching the high roller bowl too, it kind of like justifies it a little bit because, again, Chris talked about what he was seeing a lot in like the higher limits, and we've been talking about this for, I would say, a fair bit of time, where he sees a lot of the high limit players limping, doing a lot of limping in the stud games. And I think that, I'm going to break this 9 here. This is an interesting one. Ace 5, 7 here against cutoff open. Usually here I play a 3-better fold. I can play a call. I do have an extra 5 up, unblock the 9. I think I'm going to make a kind of a tight fold in this situation. Just give this one up. Any 3-card 6, probably a smoother 7 I would call. But I am playing out of position, and I am kind of throwing away an extra Badugi card early, so I'm not going to keep this 9 in this spot. If he takes 3 here, like, it was a pretty bad fold, to be honest. But going back to the stud situation, like a lot of times you do see, they were talking about like in the high limits, they have a lot of players who are just kind of implementing a limping strategy. So, okay, so if we go back over here, we're going to just put the hand history back up. This was the 4-6-6 hand. The ace opens. And again, we're not pushing that much equity, but like, I still think, like we can't just call every single time. 3-5 on the button here. I'm going to fold. I definitely want an ace in my hand. Maybe some blockers. I'll say hi to blue. And then I just wanted to see if I got called in the river by just deuces. 3-5. He must have 5 in his hand. Yeah. So again, like one of these situations where our opponent is just super wide, like, 2 connected, like a split pair connected with 2 suit, I think like 3-betting here is fine. Depends what your dead cards are, but like queen, jack, jack, obviously that helps me a little bit. And then on the river we get called by deuces, and I mean, I think this is a pure fold. Like I can do the math in this situation, and maybe as an extension on the end of this video, once I post it, I might just do the math if I can remember to do this. But I don't think I don't think this hand can ever win. I think this hand has 0 equity. It might actually be a total 0, to be completely honest, because he has ace deuce deuce, and ace deuce deuce is like the one hand I think that he might have equity against. So I think this might actually be a 0% equity hand. Again, I'm not trying to pick on everyone. I'm just trying to point out the kind of like the situation. But I think Badeucey's next. We played a whole round. All right, we're gonna play a whole round here. We'll play one more round of Badugi. That was also in the 10 game too. Something you don't usually get to see a lot is Badugi played and streamed in kind of the high limit stuff. So again, go back, watch the 100K if you can. You know, I'm obviously someone trying to make content, but their stuff is so good. Just go back and watch it. And then come back and give me some comments and let me know how bad I play compared to those guys. But that hand I made a straight flush. Usually you don't say, well, I have a straight flush draw. It's kind of like one of those things on the side, like, oh yeah, I have a straight flush draw, whatever. But usually you just don't. You just don't catch the straight flush. Like that's just like it's kind of like, oh, hello. Yeah, we'll play one more round, I think, and call it a recording. So in this situation, it goes 5 bets in a 1-1 spot. I think there's a little bit to be said sometimes about 5 betting your best 1-card draws. There's the problem in some situations though when you do it, and again, like if you're building a pot in position, like with the best hand, I totally get it. You kind of turn your hand face over, like hand face up. Like theoretically here, do you have any bluffs? Like whatever your worst 3-card, 3-bet. Oh, I thought we were playing Badugi. Oh my gosh, never mind. They played it fine. I'm thinking to myself, we're playing Badugi next round. But yeah, no, that's totally fine on his part. I mean, he had a monster. Must have had a 6 Badugi or something already. 2-4 here, we will defend in the big. Yeah, we definitely want to throw away this. Technically, we want to throw away this one because the queen of diamonds is live and the king of spades. We had technically have a better draw here drawing at this one, but this is call and draw 3. And we very closely make the 5 Badugi. It almost looked like I made it. But with the ace, deuce, 4 and wheel draw here, we're just going to call and draw 1. He draws 1 well. Now we make the 10 Badugi. But, honestly, the 10 Badugi here in this situation is basically the equivalent of ace, deuce, 4. So we're going to go ahead and call again and just break the 10. Opponent is pat. And when we make the 9 Badugi here, I think we unfortunately just have to check call now. Because I think we just, I think we get scooped here a lot. But I think we have enough equity with a 9 Badugi to call. And we do get scooped by 7. 7. And Badugi here, we have ace 3, 8. Now, if Cam opens here, like, again, a lot of times I usually play a 3-bet fold strategy, but from, like, these early position raises, I think, like, calling here and just drawing 1 is fine. We do get 3-bet by blue, which is not a good sign. Honestly, if we get 4-bet, I think this hand is probably might have been a fold. Because I think blue tends to stand a little bit on the tight side. So, Cam takes 2. I wonder if Cam just broke a Badugi. Well, can't fold yet. There's a lot of dead money in the pot. And I would still say, like, blue's range is probably, like, a fair bit of, 9s, maybe some 10s. And this is an interesting one here because, like, now I make a 10 Badugi. I don't think I'm breaking this one. I don't have, like, a pure draw. Like, if I had a pure draw, like 10-3, I might call break, but I think I'm just going to call, stand pat, and just check back. And if she bets, I'm probably just going to check fold. And she has a jack, so that was worked out well. Our freeze play out of position there worked, but I think just check raising the 10 because blue doesn't have 100% of Badugis. And nor should she. Like, she should be folding her absolute worst Badugis in that situation. So if you look at the distribution where like 10-8 is, it's still relatively high up there. I actually didn't expect to see a jack 10 there. So meaning that, like, maybe check raising there occasionally if she's a little bit rougher there, it makes a little bit more sense. But I still think, I get a lot of folds. And a lot of times when I check pat, I still get my hand to showdown. And against the hands that have me beat, like, I'm going to lose a couple extra bets. So if anyone has any thoughts in the comments, I'm more than happy to talk about that one a little bit more or get some feedback. We're going. I don't even know what's next. Is Drawmaha Deuce 7. We have 45 minutes. All right. So yeah, we're going to play one more hand here. But as always, if you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you guys think I'm playing terrible, please let me know in the comments. If you guys have any questions or comments, my email is down below. If you want to record up to 1 hour on Phenom, please do it. Send it to me, and I can go over it with you, or I can just record it myself and put it up online. And again, if you're looking to open a Phenom account, there is a link below. Please click on that and use it. It helps me and helps the channel out. And also, if you register, you can use code LMG at signup. And as always, I will, good luck at the tables. I will talk to you guys soon. Play well. Bye-bye. Hey guys, really quick, I wanted to go back to this hand. Using some of the tools that I have, I was able to kind of recreate this hand over here because I wanted to go back and see like how much equity my opponent theoretically had on the river. Everything that I kind of use basically says my opponent here has under 5%. So the deuces here actually have a little bit of value, but almost none. And obviously we can see on the river here, he's getting almost 9-1 to call, like 8.5 or whatever the technical math is here to call. So, you know, even in a situation here, if like this was 180, or if even, you know, let's say 180, like he's getting 9-1, he needs 10% to call, he's still not even getting relatively close to that. So, even though I thought like theoretically here he could have almost no equity with the deuces, he does have a little bit, but it's definitely not enough to call given the pot size. So again, I just wanted to kind of reiterate that hand. I just wanted to show again that I made a straight flush instead of 8 or better, just to, you know, brag that one out a little bit. But at the same time too, I also just want to give you guys the best information that I can going forward so that you guys can make the best decisions possible. And as always, again, good luck at the tables. I'll talk to you soon. Play well. Bye-bye.